Brett Weldele. Today I'm going to show you how I start every painting with a bit of texture painting with distress ink. Final result looks like this. Let's check out how it's done. Okay, let's texture paint some paper. In order to do that, we're going to use distress ink. I'm going to use some distress pads and also some misters filled with a combination of distress ink re-inker and water. Okay, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is take re-inker or the pad, and then I'm just going to go around the paper, giving everything sort of a texture. I'm going to keep the middle part a little clean, just because whatever image I'm creating, I don't necessarily want the centralized part of the image to be too dark. I wouldn't be too afraid about going too dark in this step. I'm going to use a lot of water, and it's going to be sort of a give and take kind of process. And just kind of putting down a base color and filling up some of the page. I'm going to switch over to a bit of rusty hinge. Again, not being super careful about this. This is only sort of an understep. Okay. Now I need paper towels at the ready for this next step because it's going to involve water and running things. I'm going to take a little bit of tumbled glass, distress ink, spray it down a little. Going to keep this mostly in a blue-green kind of context because the piece I want to make is kind of dark and murky. A little broken china. Let's add a little green. Okay, now that I've got some of that down, I'm going to sprinkle some water. I'm not going to squirt it too hard. Set this to more of a mist and just kind of sprinkle things out. It's kind of like it's raining on it. This is going to activate areas that were already underneath, and then also kind of blend the inks that are there together. Lift it up and just let the ink kind of do its thing and roll around. I think just some beautiful streaking type things. Okay, and then kind of dab the bottom a little bit so it's not running off. Take my heat tool, try to get it dried here so we can keep working and reworking this basically to our heart's content. If there are any areas that you feel are too dark already, you can go in with a paper towel and kind of dab them out. Distress ink comes off the paper very easily with a little bit of water. I'm going to just dab up some of these areas that are too dark to dry very quickly. You notice like when you add water, it'll give these kind of cool splattery effects, which are great. You can also see in some of these other areas where it's created sort of a mottled look. Now we're going to take some stamps, some texture stamps, and then create some water textures based off of spraying ink. I'm going to take different green, maybe darker green slightly. And then I'm going to take a little dot pattern stamp that I like and just basically dip it right into the ink. And already it's created a little dot pattern, but you can just take it and just keep kind of rolling it out, and it creates different sort of textures. You can move it around a little bit. To use a little bit broken china. And then I'm going to use a different rubber stamp. It's all texture. And do pretty much the same thing. Just dip it in. And when this dries, since it's wet ink, it's got water built into it, that it's going to give this sort of watercolor look when it's all dry. And you can just have fun with this. Just keep dancing around in the ink. Take a little spun sugar. I always like this. Try it again. I'll dab off the stamp before I try this with a different color, but you don't have to. In fact, you can get some really nice color gradients by actually just leaving the ink that's on there. Let's try a little bit of orange. And then of course you can always spray back in some water. If I can get it to go. There we go. And just keep kind of working back and forth. Also just kind of spreads things out a little bit. Final step. Now say you're saying that a piece of this is a little too dark. Just take a paper towel, just kind of dab at it. It'll pick up a lot of ink. Dab up a little bit, it's being stubborn. And that's that. Texture painting.